Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is TheSketchMonkey here. Today we're having a look at this beauty, a 2024 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road in this gorgeous color called the Blue Crush. Now my question is, do you really need to go with the TRD Pro when this is already so capable off-road? That's what we're going to have a look at. Today we're also going to talk about the front end design, the side view, the rear, and of course the interior with this new 14-inch screen that we have from the Tundra, and then we're gonna take this for a drive. So first of all, let's start with the front end design. First of all, I love the color that we have here. The Blue Crush, I think it looks fantastic in the sunshine. The thing about this though, what I want to add there are a couple of bits and pieces onto this car or truck that I want to add from the TRD Pro. For example, starting here with the headlights, we don't get the beautiful daytime run light down here like we have in the TRD Pro. Even if you go with the premium package for the TRD Off-Road, they don't offer it for the TRD off-road, which is crazy to me because that would give it a much more clearer identity here in the front end. But I do like that it says Tacoma here and the black housing for it. We do have a regular Edison bulb for the indicator in there. Classic Toyota grille here. Another detail that I would want to get from the TRD Pro is of course the Heritage grille. So now on the TRD Off-Road we only have the Toyota logo here, but I would 100% have the Toyota letters spelled out like this, and that is what you get on the TRD Pro. You have the front mounted camera right here. Couple of plastic pieces here that I'm not a huge fan of because these are not functional. I wish they opened these up. And you have the fog lights integrated in the bumper itself. Skid plates underneath here, as you can see, all the way back there. This is plastic though. It would be nice to have this maybe be in metal. You have the radar there for the adaptive cruise control, and everything here, as you can see, is completely open. Open slots here and open slots down here as well. I really like what Toyota did with the design here because this feels like a shrunken down Tundra because it has the same type of styling to it. A lot of chamfers going all over the place. You can see it going around the wheel arches here. We have chamfers going here into this lower section being the bumper. I think this integration of the bumper here is much more beautiful than what we have on the Tundra, which looks a little bit bulky in the front end. Now looking up top on the hood, we're gonna have a look at the powertrain in just a minute. We have these creases here in the hood creating a more almost militaristic style. It definitely comes back in the interior. Now looking at the side view here, the TRD Off-Road comes with 32-inch tires with these TRD wheels, BF Goodrich all-terrain tires with the 17-inch wheels, 265mm wide tires and 32 inches high. However, if you go for the TRD Pro, you're going to get the 33-inch tires, which I think fills out the wheelhouses just a little bit better than 32s, but it still looks pretty good. The shocks are Bilstein, which are tuned to off-road use. Of course, this being the TRD Off-Road. Love the line that we have cutting through here. You can see the shocks back here. The Bilstein shocks behind the wheel right there. Plastic, big plastic, black plastic going on the wheelhouses, which I think suits this truck because it is, after all, a truck that you're probably going to take on some trails. You don't want to scratch the side of it, so this is the first thing that's going to take the hit. You also have some functional, I guess you could call these air vents in this plastic as well. Looking at the side mirrors here, this comes with the 360 camera. You have the camera located right here, indicator in the side mirror as well. The back seat is not the biggest back seats I've ever seen in a truck. It's pretty cramped in there. I'm gonna show you how I fit behind my own driving position, being 6'1", 6'2", behind the driver when we talk about the interior. Now coming around to the rear end here, this is something that I never thought I would see on a Tacoma. Check this out. This is equipped with a power assisted tailgate. Not sure why you would need that in a Tacoma. I just like to use it manually. It's even quicker because when you go to fold it up, you have to wait and push it hard here or push the button down here for it to fold back up. So looking back here, we do have some storage on the left side with some connection up top, USB connections, which is great, 12 volt as well. And we have this outlet, house outlet on the right side with some tie downs, LEDs, Tacoma in the middle looking very nice. And that's pretty much it for the bed back here. So check this out. If I just want to close this, I have to sort of push it up and then it closes by itself instead of me just quickly, closing it by myself. To me, that would be a lot easier. Looking at the taillight here, beautiful design, similar to what we have in the Tundra. Again, LED, full LED here. This is one thing that I don't understand why car companies do. For example, Nissan Frontier does that on the base models as well. You have LED indicators in the back, but you don't have it in the front end. And it's so annoying because I think it's such a small little change to make the front end look a lot more modern, to have LEDs all around like we have here. Beautiful, juicy LEDs. Reverse lights right here as well. TRD Off-Road stamped on the side with a sticker. And the bumper itself is designed in-house, which is very, very cool to see because it creates a nice flow with the rest of the design. You can see how it cuts right here into the rear end. And this is pretty cool because think about this. If you remove the bumper itself, you can see just the departure angle, how much better that gets. I think a lot of people that are serious off-roaders are definitely going to take off this bumper. You have a couple of hookups here for a potential trailer and an LED light here for the license plate. Overall, I think Toyota has done a fantastic job with this design. I think it's a beautiful looking truck. It definitely has this Toyota identity to it ever since they released the new Tundra in, I do believe, 2022. This just has the same sort of styling. It feels like it's part of the Toyota family pretty clearly when you just look at the styling. So with that said, let's pop the hood and let's see what's powering this 2024 Toyota Tacoma. Now the cool thing about this TRD Off-Road is you can get it with a manual transmission. Super cool in 2024, and that is probably something I would consider. Even though it drops the power just a little bit, you get 270 horsepower with the manual transmission. However, this one comes with a 2.4 liter inline 4, putting out 278 horsepower, 317 pound-feet of torque connected, in this case, to the 8-speed automatic. But as I said, you can option this with the 6-speed manual if you want to. 4-wheel drive, of course, you got rear lockers. This one is also optioned with the front disconnecting sway bar, which is an option you can do for this truck. Payload comes in at 1,700 pounds, towing 6,000 pounds. 0 to 60 takes about 7.2 seconds, and the fuel economy comes in at 19 city, 24 highway. And the price, as this one is spec'd, sits at about $54,000. But keep in mind that the base price for the TRD Off-Road is $14,000 less than the TRD Pro. That is definitely something to think about, because you could buy a TRD Off-Road and then just modify it, basically make it look like a TRD Pro, and also switch out the wheels and tires and make it completely yours. And I think that is probably, for me at least, a more appealing thing to do, to just buy the base TRD Off-Road and spec it out and modify it exactly like I personally want. So with that said, let's jump in and check out this interior for the 2024 Tacoma. It's a beautiful looking interior, brand new of course for this model year, and we have a very militaristic style for the door panel here. Look at all the textures and designs that we have here. Love these slots that we have in this area. Different vibe for the JBL speakers, cup holders down here. TRD stamped in the door panel, rubberized door handle, and of course all the controls for the mirrors and the windows are located up here with a proper door handle. The seats are heated and ventilated. In this case, this one is option with it. They're power assisted. Obviously, in this price range, there should be Tacoma TRD Off-Road specific floor mats. And this is a quick overview of what the interior looks like with the brand new 14-inch screen that we have from the Tundra. So let's jump in here and let's fire this thing up. We have the big TRD start button right here, and it comes to life. We have a 12.3-inch gauge cluster, and what I like about this is that it is fully customizable with these buttons that you have on the left side of the steering wheel. So you can switch between different settings here and different layouts. Safety settings, adaptive cruise control that this one is option with as well. Settings, let's go in here and check out all the safety features that you can turn on and off. I always turn off lane departure assist. I just cannot stand that feature. You have all the other safety features here as well that you can turn on and off if you want to. Very cool to see a fully gauge cluster, digital gauge cluster like this, that is in fact customizable, because otherwise what is the point with having it be pixelated? Up top we do have this beautiful housing for it as well. Still very industrial feel for the vent design here. Now this is the biggest news here. The base model comes with an 8-inch infotainment screen. However, this one, as you can see, is equipped with the big boy from the Tundra, and this is the typical Toyota settings and navigations in here. We do have a navigation built in. I wouldn't necessarily need this 14-inch screen. It just feels almost a little too big for this smart Tacoma, instead of having it in the Tundra, where it feels like it's a more natural integration. Here, it just literally feels like a small TV that's stuck here on the dash. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is available for this car. Further down, we do have these vents down here, volume knob in the middle, and heated and cooled seats. Part of a package that I do believe is about $5,000. We can have a look at the sticker here. It's actually $8,800 for the TRD Off-Road Premium Package, which includes soft text trimmed seats with heated and ventilated 8 power adjustable front seats, leather trim, heated steering wheel, 14-inch multimedia display, and a lot more, as you can see down there. You also have some other options here if you want to pause the video. And the price for this, as tested, is $54,829. The base price is just $42,900. So we have a pretty loaded Tacoma right here. I love that it says Tacoma up here. You have some storage for the passengers. Again, this industrial militaristic feel just comes back in this interior, and I really love this interior, except for the big screen. Now we go over the 8-inch. But as I said, heated and ventilated seats. Here you can turn on the ventilated seats. Look at the texture that we have here for the dials for the temperature. This is exactly the things I've been missing in cars today. Just have a massive, rugged, rubberized dial like this. Super easy to adjust when you're driving and just figure out what it is you want to do with the temp here. And you have a bunch of controls here as well for the rest of the climate settings. Up and down for the fan speed here, for example, circulating air. And in addition to that, this also comes with a heated steering wheel, like we talked about in the options list. Further down, you do have a wireless charging here, rubberized, so the phone is not going to slide anywhere. Also has this little fin here to keep the phone in place. Couple of USB-C ports right there, and this is the gear selector. If you're familiar with Toyota products, specifically the TRD and the trucks, this is going to be a familiar design to you. I do like that we have TRD there on the lower section. Putting it into reverse, it's going to give you a bunch of camera settings. You even have the 360 camera here, looking very, very cool and super crisp. You can see all the rocks and everything that is around you. You can even fiddle around with these cameras here to see exactly where your wheels and tires are located here. In addition to that, you have probably, I would say, 8 or so different cameras here to go through. Trail camera, bed camera, and you even have a specific off-road camera setting. If you press this one, you can see the angles for the truck right here and switch between these different camera settings. Perfect for when you go on very tight trails to see exactly where the wheels are positioned. So the camera system in the Tacoma is absolutely fantastic if you decide to option your Tacoma with that. Parking brake, 4-wheel drive high, 2-wheel drive high, and 4-wheel drive low are located right here with this dial. You just press this button on the side and switch between the drive settings here. If you want to go into the multi-terrain select, you have to be in 4-wheel high at least. And if we press this, you're going to see that we have all these different settings here. Auto, dirt, sand, mud, or deep snow. And I do like the graphics that we have going on when we switch between these. Gonna keep it in dirt for now. In addition to the MTS, you also have drive modes. So you have 3 different drive modes here. You have Sport, Normal, or Eco, in addition to the MTS settings. Crawl control here, and you have the tow haul setting up top. And if you're towing something, the trail brake is located right here next to the steering wheel. As I said, this one comes fully loaded, meaning that you have all the camera views, you have the rear locking differential, which is standard on the TRD Off-Road, but this one is an option, the front disconnecting sway bar. Very useful when you go on rough trails and you need to disconnect the front end to get more articulation for the wheels in the front. A couple of cup holders here, and this is a pretty small armrest, and I do feel they could maybe have made this a little softer. It's pretty hard, but if we open this up, you're gonna see that we do have some storage down here. Not too big, but pretty standard for this type of size of truck. Now looking at the seats here, the headrests are not adjustable, but as I said, they are heated and ventilated. I do like the designs of these. You have some proper bolstering here on the side, looking great. I would like to have TRD here in the backrest. It would just make it feel a little bit more special. Moving on to the steering wheel. It's a typical Toyota steering wheel. Adaptive cruise control settings right here, radio settings on the lower section here, and you have all the controls for the volume, for example, voice command, and the controls to customize the gauge cluster with these buttons right here on the left side. On the left side of the steering wheel, a lot more buttons, a couple of aux buttons if you want to connect some auxiliary lighting, for example, a light bar, some pod lights in the front end. You can do that with these buttons right here. Traction control, automatic high beams, and fold down the tailgate down here. Looking up top, this one comes equipped with the sunroof. You can have a full sunroof that goes all the way back to the passengers, but I personally are totally fine with just having this. My option, as I'm sure you know if you see my reviews before, would be to just not have a sunroof altogether. And you also have a spot here to store your shades and a mirror for your makeup. Last but not least, this is also equipped with the camera view for the rear view mirror. Honestly, personally, I'm not a fan of these cameras. I don't know why. I just always prefer to have it just like a regular standard old camera. With that said, let's jump in to the back seat and let's see if I can fit behind my own driving position. Me being 6'1", 6'2", this is my driving position right there. This is going to be interesting to see if I can actually fit back here. You have this similar styling for the door panel here, looking nice, and this is pretty interesting. Check this out. This is how you fold up the seats. You just use this piece, fold this up, and then you just hook it up like a button, if I can get it connected right there. And the good news, this is not the hybrid, meaning that you do have some storage down here. If you go with the hybrid, you're not going to get the storage underneath here because you need to store the batteries somewhere, and in the hybrid case they are stored in this area. So let's fold this back down. You also have what looks to be sort of a first aid kit, maybe? Yes, it is a first aid kit located underneath the passenger seat back here. Now just looking at it, you can see this is going to be pretty tight. And this is the reason why these mid-size trucks, if you plan on having people back here, just make sure they're not too tall because it is pretty cramped in here. Headroom is pretty decent because we do have this carved-out portion up top in the roof, as you can see right there. But even if you go with the TRD off-road with the premium package, it is very stripped down back here. You don't even get cup holders. There's nothing to fold down here in the middle. However, you do get a house outlet right there and a couple of USB-Cs in addition to the cup holders up here. So what is it like driving the new 2024 Toyota Tacoma with the TRD off-road package? I mean, it's very, very comfortable. You don't get those seats that you do get in the TRD Pro, which is probably half the cost of the additional cost for the Pro, where you have the shocks built into the seat. They look so cool, and I would love to test those out. But this is still very comfortable. With the 32-inch BF Goodrich tires, 278 horsepower. This case, we do have the 8-speed automatic. But personally, I would just lose 8 horsepower and go for the 6-speed manual because they're still offering it in 2024, and I sort of want to support that they are in fact offering a 6-speed manual. And personally, I would not necessarily need all these bells and whistles that we have in here, the heated and cooled seats, not a, you know, a must for me. I would probably just go with a base TRD off-road with the 6-speed manual, and then just, as I said when we talked about the exterior, just modify it the way I want it to look and drive with maybe probably 33-inch tires on there. Some different, maybe keep the TRD wheels, may have some light bars in the front, some pod lights, and I would still save probably $15,000 after everything is said and done over buying a fully loaded TRD Pro, or maybe even more than $15K, because the base price of this is just over $40,000, while the TRD Pro I think starts at, what was it, $62,000. So I have $20,000 to play with if I go with a base TRD off-road with the 6-speed manual, which also saves me about $1,000 over the 8-speed automatic. But the power in this, you can get the hybrid if you want to, but you're gonna lose the storage underneath the back seats. And I don't feel like I need more power than this, but I also haven't driven the, I think, 326 horsepower for the iForce Max hybrid, which is a substantial bump in power, of course. But, you know, as long as I don't drive it, I'm fine, because as soon as I drive it, I'm probably gonna realize that I actually want that additional power. But this is totally fine for me. I also love the exterior color that we have here. The Blue Crush Metallic. Love the name too. Super comfy over these trails that we're on right now. We're basically a dirt road with some bumps in it. Beautiful day today out in Colorado. And I have it in 4-wheel high now on dirt. And as I showed you, you have a bunch of different drive modes and the multi-terrain select, which you can configure and to suit whatever surface you are on. Now this is a very, very important model for Toyota, so they really could not screw it up when it comes to the replacement of the old one, which was still selling really well up until this came out, even though it's been out for a very long time. Thankfully, we do now have disc brakes in the rear, but the design overall, the exterior design, the interior design, as I said, this screen is a little bit too big for me. 14 inches in a mid-sized truck feels too big. I would go with an 8-inch. But the design in interior, exterior, I think Toyota just nailed it when it comes to the styling here. It feels rugged. It feels, as I said, almost militaristic on the specifically interior, but the exterior has a clear connection to the new 4Runner as well as the full-size Tundra. So it keeps the family tight and it keeps the identity of the brand intact with this new design. And on these dirt roads, it is a very fun little truck to drive with the traction control off. So what is my final verdict for the 2024 Tacoma? I think Toyota has done a fantastic job with this truck. I think it's going to sell just as well as the old one, if not better. And you can now spec it out to be almost like a luxury truck if you wanted to, like we have here with the heated and cooled seats. You have the big 14-inch screen as well, and it goes pretty well off-road, even if it's it's still a capable truck, this TRD off-road. Personally, I would go with a base spec manual transmission and spec it out just as I would like to have it be spec'd and call it a day. Save a lot of money that way too. If you want to, you can still go with the big bro, the TRD Pro, and have it be from the factory all spec'd out to be a proper off-roader. But this TRD off-road would be my choice with as basic of a truck as possible. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.